What? A deal with Iran is complete. Uh-oh. Check this out. See what you done, Trump.
Fox News alert. President Trump says a deal with Iran is now complete. Moments ago, he announced on Truth Social that the Strait of Hormuz will open without a toll and that the authorized removal of the U.S. naval blockade will go in effect. Let's bring back Trey Yingst live from Tel Aviv with more details, Trey.
Yeah, Joey, a major announcement by President Trump after more than 100 days of a state of war between the United States and Iran. A deal has been reached. President Trump, I hereby fully authorize the toll-free opening of the Strait of Hormuz and simultaneously
usually hear that with a phone number. Call toll-free 1-800-665-1212.
With authorize the immediate removal of the United States naval blockade. Ships of the world, start your engines, let the oil flow. President Donald J. Trump. The president making this announcement on his birthday from the White House in Washington. There was another statement released by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, one of the key mediators in the conversations that led to this agreement to end the conflict between the United States and Iran. The Pakistani Prime Minister made a lengthy announcement thanking both the United States and Qatar for their role in reaching this agreement. The Prime Minister says there will be an official signing ceremony on Friday, June 19th in Switzerland. So, again, a major development here as President Trump announced.
Them gas prices better be low as tomorrow. I swear I'm going to check.
There is a deal with the Islamic Republic of Iran. The Strait of Hormuz is open once again. Those vessels that are trapped in the Persian Gulf will be able to export that crude oil from these Gulf countries. The naval blockade lifted on Iranian ports. And these detailed discussions on Iran's nuclear program set to begin. A major development in the Middle East, and for the first time in months, the region is breathing a sigh of relief.
Finally, a damn deal.
Trey, I want to get into your experience, the conversations you've had with your sources, things of that nature. What does this mean in your mind right now? So we say we're removing the blockade. Obviously, we're not taking all of our naval assets out of the region. He says that he's authorized the toll-free opening, which means that he has assurances from Iran they're not going to try and put that toll on ships. I know that a senior administration official did a briefing a couple of days ago and said, hey, it'll be kind of a slow walk because certain companies, certain countries aren't as sure as others that that strait is not mined, and we're still kind of building confidence. So what do you think the first steps of third parties will be, those ships and other countries, things of that nature?
Well, I think that the president getting this across the finish line tonight was very significant because, remember, Israel was bracing for the possibility of incoming Iranian ballistic missiles just hours ago. And the president clearly got on the phone and told them, hold your fire, sign the deal. And that's what's happened here. And again, this announcement by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, along with the announcement by President Trump on Truth Social. The fact that there is an immediate opening of the Strait of Hormuz is significant because this is 50% of what the president was trying to get. The other 50% has to do with Iran's nuclear program, and these detailed discussions will take place in the days and weeks ahead. When we think back to when Operation Epic Fury began, there was one goal that President Trump had, and he told us this goal over and over again when we would speak with the president. He said, Iran cannot have a path to a nuclear weapon. And during Operation Epic Fury, not only was the Iranian military degraded, but you also had this naval blockade of Iranian ports that was crippling the Iranian economy. It put the Iranian regime up against a wall in a position where ultimately they had to make this deal. And when we think back a year ago from today, there were ballistic missiles in the skies of Israel during the 12-day war between Israel and Iran. And at the end of that war last summer, President Trump ordered B-2 bombers over Iranian nuclear facilities, Fordow and Isfahan, and buried that highly enriched uranium deep underground. And we have to consider that moment when we look at the significance of what was just announced by President Trump, because this is an agreement between the United States and Iran, but it comes after the United States destroyed Iranian nuclear facilities, decimated the Iranian Navy, took out many of the production lines for Iranian ballistic missiles and drones, and has now set a new path for the region. And that is the hope of President Trump, that this is going to lead to these broader normalization deals across the Middle East. And he urged Gulf countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and others to normalize ties with Israel in the aftermath of Operation Epic Fury. Because again, the vision here for the president is a Middle East where there isn't a constant state of war, but rather opportunity and prosperity for countries.
Let the oil flow.
So it's a significant announcement. Certainly, there is still a lot of work to be
Premium better be $2 a gallon tomorrow. I'm going off.
done. There is a big difference between signing and implementing a deal, but this is a major first step toward peace in the region, and the president has gotten this deal across the finish line that will now immediately open the Strait of Hormuz, free those vessels that are currently trapped in the Persian Gulf, and now enter into these detailed negotiations on Iran's nuclear program. Guys?
So, Trey, I want to dig into that a little bit. Obviously, as far as we're concerned politically and economically, that strait being open for free passage is a major deal, and it's certainly nothing to scoff at in the immediate. It's great news. I would say, in terms of what's to come next, does this mean when we say we have a deal, does this mean that Iran effectively said, all right, we're not going to pursue a nuclear program, or does it mean we have a deal to have more talks on your nuclear program and what we're going to do with the remnants of it?
Yeah, because they want one. They want one.
Just to clarify that, because sometimes it gets a little sticky exactly what the Iranians have agreed to, whether it's just in theory or whether it's a little bit more definitive.
And what he said kind of sounded like a ceasefire. They got a ceasefire, and they have a deal on the Strait of Hormuz right now. And we're still trying to figure out the whole nuclear program. That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah, it's a great question. A senior administration official was talking to a small group of reporters late last week and indicated as part of this memorandum of understanding, the Iranians will agree to not pursue a nuclear weapon, but they'll also agree to this process that will ultimately lead to the highly enriched uranium that is currently buried deep underground in the aftermath of Operation Midnight Hammer to be diluted and destroyed. And remember, that highly enriched uranium is what is needed to create a nuclear weapon. It's what the Iranians said they had enough of to create 11 nuclear bombs. And it's one of the main reasons that President Trump ordered Operation Epic Fury. When we think back, though, to what this agreement means moving forward, we have to look also at the sanctions relief for the Iranian regime. The Iranians will receive some sanctions relief. But according to this senior administration official, this is contingent on the Iranians upholding their end of the bargain. And so they're not going to get any sort of relief unless they are moving forward with keeping the Strait of Hormuz open and ensuring that this nuclear material is ultimately exported or destroyed inside of their country. And so, again, this is a new chapter.
Oh, they'll go back on their word.
In the region, and it's not going to necessarily go perfectly smoothly. But the fact that this announcement...
This whole thing been a damn bumpy, rocky dirt road.
Especially from the Prime Minister of Pakistan, includes a ceasefire on all fronts, including Lebanon, which means Hezbollah. It's a new opportunity for the region, and it's an opportunity for the region to look forward and past this round of conflict. And there will be a lot of statements made by the Iranian regime in the days ahead. It will not be uncommon to see officials in Tehran focus on one specific part of the agreement that looks good for the Iranians.
Sure.
But that is what they do, and it's often how they use state media. It's important to look at the deal as a whole and what it means. And it means the Strait of Hormuz is immediately open. The U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports is lifted, and ultimately you are not going to see this exchange of fire taking place across the region like we've seen for the past 3.5 months. And so it is a new step.
That's what I said. Hormuz is open. They got a ceasefire going on. At least that's what it sounds like. And here he's talking about they ain't going to pursue a nuclear weapon.
Direction for the Middle East. And as the president has reiterated in the conversations that we've had during interviews with the commander-in-chief, he is looking for a situation in the Middle East that leads to more peace and prosperity. You have the normalization deals and the efforts toward a deal between Israel and Lebanon to ultimately disarm Hezbollah. You have the Abraham...
Oh, Lord. I had a thunderstorm outside. When did this happen?
Accords that normalize ties between the UAE
We were fine.
Bahrain and Israel and others. And those are really the best example from the first Trump administration of the opportunity that exists in the region. When we first started reporting here in the Middle East, when I arrived here 8 years ago, you couldn't fly on a plane from Tel Aviv to Dubai.
What the hell was that
and now it's one of
sound?
the most popular destinations for
It's just the
Israelis
wind.
and Emiratis.
I don't know what
So
the hell
we
is
have
going
this
on out there.
situation where there is opportunity in the aftermath. And so, again, the implementation of a deal is very different than signing a deal, but this is the first step toward opening the Strait of Hormuz and ultimately entering into those more detailed discussions on Iran's nuclear program.
All right, I'm going to leave it right there. Sounds good to me. Nice birthday gift. Thanks, President Trump. All right. Hopefully them gas prices come down. Everybody start filling up cheap. That feels good. You know what I'm saying? Let's get some more. Let's get them income tax taken care of. So we ain't paying no more income tax. President Trump, let's do this. Check out this UFC fight tonight if I get a chance. I'm trying to do another video after this. I should have the time, I think. Let me get this one out to you. 10 million subscribers. Woo!